we all know that we all talk about different dimensions. And in those dimensions, there are other Earths. And if you are in those other dimensions, are you still providing energy to Mother Earth, or is Mother Earth providing energy to you in those dimensions?
Can we start there?
Yeah.
Because as you say, Mother Earth draws everything to her. Mother Earth is the sanctuary for all existence, you see.
Mm-hmm.
The number of dimensions that you currently perceive, you have no clue. Let us just put it to you that way.
Okay.
But what we will say is the additional Earths are all happening on this plane, in this planet.
All right. I'd like to welcome everybody today. A conversation between friends. We have some special guests today. Nada, Carol, and Isaac are joining us this evening. So we're all happy to have them here today. Also, I'd like to would like to thank Wanda for sharing her house,
My pleasure.
her farm, Smiling Moon Ranch.
Smiling Moon Ranch.
Yeah, okay. I'd like to thank her for having us here. So today's not only obviously every time we're together it's a special day, but today's a very special day because today's December 21st, the winter solstice, and so it's a special day for Mother Earth. So we have the shortest day and the longest evening today. So anyway, we thank you again. So I was introduced to, so our question is going to be today because of the winter solstice. I was introduced to the power of Mother Earth in high school when I was in physics class. And they gave me the F equals ma. So the force of the world equals mass times acceleration. And acceleration is the energy of gravity that Earth provides to us. And it turned me on to physics. And I'm a scientist by nature, and I'm an engineer by degree. I got to college and took physics again. And they revamped that equation for me in college. And that equation was now F is equal to the integral from 0 to infinity of mass times acceleration, acceleration being the energy force that Mother Earth provides to things falling on her. So I went along and I loved it. I enjoyed it, made all kinds of calculations. So Mother Earth attracts everything to itself. Every atom, every molecule, every proton, every neutron. And now there's a new item called the God particle, and it attracts it as well. It's the smallest particle known to mankind. So with that being said, here's...
Is there going to be a physics test?
Yeah, there's a physics test at the end. So
I was going to say, you know, Charlie Brown.
Yeah, we're like,
wow.
We just heard it. Sorry.
So I just wanted to make sure you understand where I come, because amongst all of these friends, I'm known as the reluctant healer. Because I got a long way to go. I understand. But this is where I came from.
But he gets the physics beautifully.
Yes, he does.
So,
The rest of us not so much.
I
So-
can pretend.
So here is the question for tonight, and it involves Mother Earth, because it's a special day for it today. So here's what I want the discussion to be about today. So when you guys are in your gift, God's gift to all of you, is Mother Earth providing energy to you when you provide the services to your clients? Is she providing energy through you? Okay. And then the second part of that was, do you provide energy back to Mother Earth during those sessions? Okay. And then the last part of that question was, we all know that we all talk about different dimensions. And in those dimensions, there are other Earths. And if you are in those other dimensions, are you still providing energy to Mother Earth, or is Mother Earth providing energy to you in those dimensions?
Can we start there?
Yes.
Ooh,
All right.
I
Go
love
for
it. I love it.
Yes.
It doesn't matter where we start. Those are the three question
We're
parts.
going to start there.
Okay.
Because as you say, Mother Earth draws everything to her. Mother Earth is the sanctuary for all existence, you see.
Mhm.
The number of dimensions that you currently perceive, you have no clue. Let us just put it to you that way.
Okay.
But what we will say is the additional Earths are all happening on this plane, in this planet. And there is dimensional energies, which simply are an elevation of frequencies. Do you understand?
Yep.
So in that space, all that has ever been exists here. This plane, this earthly plane, was created to mirror specific energetic forms that now cohabitate here.
Okay.
Which is why we say the number of dimensional energies is exponential.
Way beyond the 5th dimension.
Okay.
Way beyond the 12th dimension.
So go back.
Add like a bunch of zeros to that.
So going back to the last part of that question was, okay, so I understand where you're coming from. Okay, so you're saying that all the Earths are in the single dimension that we are.
All the Earths are on this plane.
This plane.
This plane, this planet.
Okay.
This planet will always be. This planet will always win.
Okay.
Because she must be for universal balance to be. Because without universal balance, there will be no existence, you see.
So why do we call it a different dimension if it's all in one plane?
Because of what you can see in your human perception.
Okay.
You are not accommodating the fullness of your abilities to connect energetically with all things. If you did, there would be one dimension. Do you understand what we mean?
I think I see what you're saying. Okay.
But all it is again, frequency. You are resonating within a certain specific frequency from moment to moment to moment. There is a variation of frequencies within each and every one of you. But if your frequency is here and there is a frequency up here in your ebb and flow, you may momentarily meet, but sometimes, just sometimes, the gap is too extreme. So you can't even perceive. Do you understand?
Okay.
The human mind is a wonderful thing, but you do not utilize it to its fullness of capacity. You are all born with this knowledge. You are all born with the knowledge of all things.
Okay.
But you do not exist in that energy.
Feelings?
We shift dimensions every 4 or 7 seconds. Like we are constantly shifting dimensions based exactly on just frequency. So that's why it's all the same plane. It's kind of like talking as far as time. You know, we have a linear time because that's how we used to function in this 3D world. But past, present, and future are all one. They're all happening now. Because what I just said just happened now. And that was in the future. Now it's now. Right? So it's like it just happened now. So it's we could have just shifted without us knowing into another dimension just because we're all together and we have raised our frequency due to the exercises that we've been doing today. And so we may not even be outside of this. People may not even see us or know us because we're at a much higher frequency, even though we're still on the same earth.
So we may not see the shift either.
Yeah.
We'd never see it because we're not aware enough.
Yeah. So we're in the present.
Yeah.
And that present may be in a different dimension.
And if you experience it, that's a glitch in the matrix and what one would call the Mandela effect. Those are the glitches. So when, who was it that Gandhi, we thought that he was died, but then all of a sudden he was being released from jail, and the majority of the world thought that he had passed, but he was in jail. You know, or just the Britney Spears, did she really have her microphone or did she not when she did that song, Oops, I Did It Again, right? That's exactly what's happening. So That's when we will catch it. When we have a Mandela effect, if we see a glitch, like, oh, I thought my glass was right there, and it's no longer there.
It happens all the time.
More than you think. Okay, so I don't have anything to say when it comes to dimensions or planes or past, present, or future. However, what I do have to say is my personal experience when it comes to Mother Nature, or Mother Earth, or whatever title you want to say or give her. Now, first, my name is Carol Miranda, also known as Carol the Tarot Reader. So, the very first thing that I want to say is that before I came into, I don't even know how do I want to say this, but my quote unquote gifts, you know what I mean? It's like before I came into that, before I came into spirituality and understanding my intuition and knowing how that is, or understanding my own energetic body, um, uh, when I would consider myself like a true Mongol, the very, very first lesson that I ever learned was how to ground yourself. And that grounding yourself was the biggest thing to help me understand not only how to connect myself to Mother Nature or to Mother Earth, but also to understand. It was my first interaction or understanding my own personal energy, how I'm tethered to it, and how I could expand and get lighter and lighter and lighter as the frequencies goes.
So do you feel the energy coming through you?
Now I can if I set the intention. If I just do it random, like we're just walking on Earth, no. But if I set the intention that I'm going to ground to her, like when we did something earlier, then yeah. But without that intention, no.
So when you read your tarot cards, you set the intention and you ground yourself.
To protect myself in that sense, because my intention is different. Then I'm grounding myself to Mother Earth. However, it's to protect myself and always keep me tethered to here. That's my intention. And then that was my first initiation to the spiritual world and to trusting like my intuition, because that's learning how to ground yourself is for me when I teach other people, because I teach people tarot, I teach people how do you improve your intuition. And the very, very first thing that I tell people, if you want to improve your intuition, learn how to ground. Because the thing is that when you learn how to ground, you get to understand your own energy. You can't understand other people's energy or read their energy if you don't understand yourself first. So once you understand yourself first, that's the very first thing. And that's why grounding is so important, because it's you and you alone, no one else. And then the other experience that I want to talk about with Mother Nature or Mother Earth was I've actually seen her. So I go by Carol the Tarot Reader, but my gift is I love to teach, but my personal individual gift is I could see color. I could see people's individuals colors. And with that being said, a couple of years ago, when did I get that? Get sick?
Was
20?
21.
21?
Yeah.
In 2021, my father got sick and he got COVID when the first wave came in. And when he got COVID, he was in the hospital. I think he was in they put him in an induced coma. And yeah, they put him in a induced coma, and he was in there for quite some time. And I remember at some point, I personally got I was all over the place emotionally. I was everywhere. And I reached out to every single friend that I had that was in my metaphysical group and my spiritual friends. I didn't care whether you were traditional or non-traditional, where you fell off. And I set my intention. I said, I want to help. I was just like, I'm going to save my father. I was like, this is my intention. I wrote it down clearly and I passed it to all my friends. And I said, please help me set the intention. So basically I set a prayer circle. But every single person had a different faith. So in that prayer circle, I had one person with lighting candles. I had another one doing her whatever, I don't know, concoctions that people do. I don't know, because I got sent a whole bunch of different pictures.
Sure.
Cutting hair.
I got
Bringing eggs.
everything. I literally have like pictures. I have different things of different backgrounds, different everything. It's like whatever you could think of. And to me, it was very special, very beautiful. But it was
That is really beautiful.
It was one particular night And in this sense, it was one particular night, and we were all in prayer because of this time frame. I remember in that prayer too, I wrote at the end, like, I am calling out to anybody in the universe that is hearing my heart and my soul to please help me at this moment. And I was just like, I'm opening those doors. And the minute that I said that, that morning when I woke up, I got woken up by um, Mother Earth. And the way that she looked and appeared, I say she because it's not a he nor she or not a anything. The only reason why I say she is because the energy felt, I could understand why people say mother because of the way that she showed up. Like, I imagine like a blob, but it's not a perfect circle, so it's like a blob. But in these blobs, it's like a lot of different blobs coming in and out, and all of these are different colors. Colors you've seen before, colors you haven't seen before, but it's very extremely translucent. So you could see extremely through it as though I'm seeing through water or a mirror.
Mhm.
So it's like that. But there's so many colors and rays, but you're looking as though you're looking through water. And so, but it's not thick enough to put your hand and feel. But I could see this, and the way she was communicating with me, like, I understood exactly what it was that she was saying, but it wasn't like we're talking, like this kind of, it was um, like,
Telepathy?
there you
Yeah,
go.
it's telepathy.
Like telepathy, like I
Yeah.
understood it. And like she stood there and I was like, what? And I was like, and I didn't even have to ask her. I was just like, you knew who she was. And I was like, okay. And she said, I'm gonna help your father out. I am gonna help him because he's helped us out. My father's a gardener by trade.
Wow.
How cool is that?
My
That's
father's
so cool.
he's a gardener by trade, and he takes care of
I got
plants.
chills on that one.
Yeah, and he loves nature. And I told him because we come from El Salvador, we come from nothing. We don't have education. Like my father, I think he came up to the ninth grade, and that's as far as he went. My mom went up to the second grade, and that's as far as they went. And it had everything to do with money and war. That's why you couldn't get it. So him coming to this country, and he ended up becoming a gardener. I asked my dad, I was like, is that something you really wanted? Do you love your job? He said, yes, I do love my job. And it is something that I wanted because I really, really love it. It was funny because he's like, I love the trees, I love the grass. And my dad really knows the history and the things. So anyway, Mother Earth told me, he's just like, because of everything he's done for us, we're gonna help him out. So she reassured me and told me, don't you worry, we're gonna help.
Mhm.
And in that moment, it gave me so much faith that I was like, I cannot give up. I cannot give up because my family members were already giving up.
Mm.
And I was like, but my circle of friends kept it like extremely strong. Anyway, my father, um, I think it was like a week later, um, the group that he went, the day that he got admitted with like 25 people or something like that, and they all got put under into a induced coma. Out of that whole group, my father's the only survivor.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, because that first wave was really deadly.
Tough.
And when they had to induce, it's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And that was it. Nobody came out of it.
I know, respirator, the whole.
He was the only survivor. And then they kept saying that they kept trying to pull the plug, but I said, no, I knew in my heart that he was going to come out of it because I knew. I was like, Mother Earth came. I was just like, not only that, I was just like, my person is Jesus. That's my person. I always throw that name out there because I joke around with it a lot, but no, that's in my heart. But I was just like, all of my friends brought in whoever it is their background was. And I was just like, it was so beautiful. But he came out of it. And that's my experience with Mother Earth. I know that she 100% listens and I know what she looks like. I never felt her again. I never saw her again. But that right there was one of the craziest moments I ever had. And I always appreciate her. And it's just like, that's how I understand her. I was like, I know she's alive and I know she listens. And if you take care of her, she's aware, whether, how small or how big. Yeah.
So, okay, so going back to one of the questions was, and I understand being grounded.
I wanna-
Oh, sorry.
I wanna-
Yeah, sorry.
I
Sorry,
wanna-
no.
Add to that.
Sure.
So when I first started my journey, I didn't know about grounding. I had heard about it, but I didn't know what the heck they were talking about, so I had no clue. So I was just learning how to connect to the divine. It took me a long time to realize what they meant by grounding, and I finally learned how to connect to Mother Earth. But when we went to the Huntington Museum
Yes.
the last couple of weeks ago, it was the first time when we were walking around, remember, and we ended up on the dirt path, and we were standing there. I felt Mother Earth coming up through my legs. I felt her energy. Right
Oh,
through
I
my legs.
remember that. I remember. I felt it with you.
I'm like,
Yeah.
do you feel that? And you're like, no, I don't feel it. I'm like, watch. And then you started feeling it. That was the first time I've actually felt Mother
Yeah,
Earth.
she was coming up like the vibe.
Yes, the
Yeah.
That was
I've
my
never been one to. The question is, do we connect
Uh-huh.
while we're doing a session? Do
Yes.
we give back? I have my whole life, as you're all talking, I literally have never been that kid who could go in bare feet because the ground hurt me.
Mhm.
Whether I was on grass, whether I was on sand, whether I was on gravel, whether if I did not have shoes, it hurt me. And today
Energetically or
yes.
just physically?
It felt like my
Burning?
feet burned.
Oh, okay.
My feet burned. So I've never been one to ground.
Okay.
And my connection is celestial. And so I'm always amazed at the idea of grounding. And even in our process today, my feet were burning. And I was like, oh God, here we go. Because the earth burns me. It's the oddest thing. So
Well, yeah, but you said an interesting thing about the celestial.
mhm.
Well, I mean, really, the Earth is part of that system.
Mhm.
So technically, you are feeling the grounding with the Earth because it's part of the celestial system.
But I don't usually feel the energy coming up.
Mm.
The energy comes
Comes
down.
down.
It may anchor me here, but I don't. But if the energy is reversed, it physically hurts.
And when any of you, if I don't know, not of you don't touch people. Some of you guys do. I know Nada does.
Don't let
That's a
me
different
touch
story.
you. You know what's gonna happen.
Then the question is, when you touch somebody in your endeavors, do you feel their grounding?
Hmm.
Since you
I
can't.
feel the energy that I'm moving.
Okay.
Do I feel the energy coming up through them?
Mhm.
Only if it's important for them to know that that energy is there so that I can point it out to them. Otherwise, it's like there's a disconnect in that it's almost as if I'm levitating above that level, if that makes sense to say.
I am with you. My journey has been very celestial, cosmos. I've always, I think I spoke in like my past lives. I know I came from the cosmos, so I'm very connected to the cosmos. Um, yes, it is all related, right? Mother Earth is a big ball of consciousness, right? Um, it's not until just recently that I've been more into shamanic practicing and working really with the earth. Um, and I feel that I'm going in that direction now to pull it together, the cosmos, like so above, so below, as below, so below type of situation. Because it seems like we're as a society, as a world, we're in this dualistic world. We're separated, so we're either celestial or we're either here, and we really need to get it together.
Mhm.
So I've had the same experiences as a celestial. It's the energies coming through me from above. Even the visualizations is the prism coming through above, and transferring the energy. So when I do light activation, light coded opening up DNA, when I do DNA movement, that to me is celestial. When I'm doing healing, it's earth because it's nurturing. So,
Wait, say that one more time.
so I do two different things. When I do like code activations, like when you set an intention, I want to speak light language or whatever, and I manipulate DNA. So I open up DNA
Yeah.
is what I do. So it's like chemistry. You're dealing with science, right?
Yeah.
So I get that. Yeah, physics.
Physics part of it, yes.
I'm in IT, so I get it.
You got it. Yeah, I get it. Blah, 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 blah.
So
I got you.
it's all about, but it's all the nerd side of it. But when I'm doing this and stuff, it comes more from the heart. It comes more from the nurturing aspect of it. Not that the light activation is not like heart, based, but there's just more love and more nurturing coming from the earth. So it's different. It feels like different energies. All it's like the same energy that we're all working with, but it just feels a little bit different.
I've known Wanda for a few years now, and her nickname is actually Lava Girl because she is so tied to the earth, like so tied energetically to the earth that sometimes she has a hard time receiving the celestial energy.
Mm-hmm.
But she is so anchored, grounded to the earth. And what I find very interesting, if you know anything of Wanda's history, there was a time she was a beach girl, and now she's in the desert. But the energies,
And I grew up camping in the mountains, so.
yeah, she's definitely earth tied, and she has the ability to move the earth's energy to open and expand dimensional energy to amp the frequency. I would say it's almost as if she breaks it open to turn it up. So, what is your experience with your grounding?
Do you sense it? Do you feel it?
No. I mean,
Don't.
I've always had a sense of, and I don't know if that's just because the way we were raised. We're a really outdoorsy, active family. So we've always been brought up to, respect the earth and, leave whatever place you go better than where you found it, that kind of thing. Tend to the earth. I myself am not like a gardener or yard work person. I mean, I'll do a little bit. I
You
know.
deal with the
I've got
horses
like
and the
7.5
goats?
acres of work
Yeah,
to
yeah,
do,
yeah,
but
yeah.
no, and that's where my husband, he really loved it. He loved planting trees and digging in the dirt and watching things grow and nourishing. I like the end result, but not necessarily the process. But I've always had a deep feeling or respect for beautiful places and on earth. I remember camping or being out in the woods and as little kids and being fascinated because then you would think I would see things. It's like, oh, okay, there's like little fairies or elves or something that you would see in really like forested areas. And so I know I probably have it, but without I'm not aware of it. I mean, I have the awe of it and the feeling of it is makes me happy. I mean, that's when I'm truly, truly my happiest, if I'm just
In nature.
out.
So you're in nature.
Like that's why I
in
love
nature in
camping.
front of a fireplace,
Yeah,
listening to nothing but fire crackling.
yeah, I'm like in my happy space. And even just driving,
But
driving.
that is energy. That is Mother Earth energy. Just so you know.
Yeah. So I'm sure I've always felt in my mind a connection, but again, I don't feel it like you guys feel it. I suppose that's probably where I feel it most in my heart or in my emotions.
Yeah, but see, you're trying. And I don't know you that well, but I mean, so you're trying to fit into a box of things you hear, and I think that's a problem because you need to have your own box, and maybe that is it. Maybe that you always push and fight against it, but maybe that's I mean, you shouldn't be because that is that feeling you just spoke of that you feel at home and you feel the most. That is a connection to Mother Earth. That is what it means, and that's what they're trying to get across and how they're doing it. So I think the fact that you're trying to fit in a box is a problem. You're already in there.
I'm already there.
So you just need to enjoy the moment, enjoy the time. I mean, it really is. I think you fight it.
Well, we all have a tendency to compare ourselves.
Yeah.
So we all have a tendency not to see the true reality of the gifts that God has given us.
Yeah.
Hello, reluctant healer. They call you that for a reason. Because, again, one, don't want to go there. And two, well, they're so much better than me. We are all in a point of transitioning into and becoming more of who we were created to be. And our timelines are all different.
Yeah, that's true.
We each are here to have a specific impact at a specific time. And even though we may think that we are ready in what we do, to have that impact now, the earth beings may not be ready to receive it.
Mhm.
So in this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person, what we will say is her stubborn streak is that full connection to the earth's energy. Because as loving as Mother Earth can be, she is steadfast and firm in her conviction to always be.
Yeah, she has to.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
She has to.
and this is who this is.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's
you know
the same as I am. That's why I'm the reluctant heater.
Yeah.
For the same reason. I'm not.
Yes.
No, I
Yeah,
know.
we're not being critical
Yeah, yeah.
at all.
Yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah.
just saying that strength, which is why ME calls her lava girl,
And I
because
wonder-
that's what she sees.
I know that you've never
Core
had it
connection.
done, but next time you're out in the woods or camping and whoever's there with you, have them take a picture of you while you're out walking, because I didn't know this. But when I go and be among trees, or if I'm at the
That's true. I
beach,
remember those
Omar
pictures.
goes, "You're glowing."
I can see the glow.
Yeah.
I have pictures of it.
I glow because I'm picking up all of that mother
I want to see
Earth
what
energy.
you look like in the
Well, maybe I need to travel with a photographer. I get no one.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think-
like, I do. He's like, yeah. And he actually took a picture, and my color changed. I was
Yeah.
more bright. It's
Yeah.
like I was.
That's beautiful.
Like,
I want to
oh.
see it. If you get a chance, like
Yeah,
I really do
yeah.
want
Yeah,
to see
yeah.
it.
Yeah, you can find it later, but yeah. So maybe Wanda does glow.
And just she doesn't see it because
Yeah.
there's no one there.
Well,
But I
and
mean,
then a lot of times, like, I won't notice things until she says something. Do you feel that? I'm like, what?
What would be?
What
was it?
And feel what?
She's the one that picks up that energy real quick. I'm like, what? And then she tells me, then I have to concentrate because I'm like, what? And then I start feeling it too. But I'm like walking around like oblivious to everything unless someone is around to
You
tell
to
me.
help you.
To
Yeah.
find it
Yeah,
out,
to
yeah.
point it out because
Point it out.
otherwise, I'm
Help
not.
you be conscious of it.
Yeah, I'm not trained myself to pick up energies, whether it's Mother Nature or Mother Earth or if it's whatever. I'm just like I'm so because the beginnings of my transformation has been celestial. If I'm going to pick up entities, I'm there. Like I can pick up, aliens like no other, right?
I'm gone, not there.
Yeah.
I was like, girl, call me, I'll pick you up.
When you get back.
Wait, let me know.
It's just where you set your focus on.
Yeah.
So I'm not focused on picking up what she's picking up but she's more in tune in that area than I am. And then I'm not, you see colors. I'm like, yeah, the only colors I see are what my kids are coloring,
Yeah.
Like,
on the wall.
whatever. So it's just where you want
I
to
always
set your
wanted to be able to
focus.
see colors too. I was like, oh, that'd be so cool to see people's auras.
Well, here's a point we would like to make, and what we would like to say to each of you. Where you are in your journey, again, is intentional and where you're supposed to be. But just because you don't understand it now or you don't feel it now does not mean it won't be part of what unfolds for you.
Right.
Later on.
Yeah,
When
you always
Amy
say that.
started, she
Yeah.
only saw the dead and angels, you
Yeah.
see, from the age of being in the crib. Have
And
you
look
met
where
her?
you are now.
She sees
Yeah,
many
yeah,
things.
yeah.
No.
So there is a different in connection and a different in understanding, but in part, when you are focused on what is missing,
Right. Then you're not going
you're not going to allow
That's
flow
what it is.
to
That's
come
what it is
through.
right there for me
Yeah.
too.
So when you are focused on what is missing, we highly, highly recommend you all remind yourself of this every day when you hear yourself say, well, if I had this, or if I didn't have to do this, you're stopping flow. You're literally throwing up a beaver's dam, and they're very creative little creatures. They can stop a flow. You
Yeah.
understand what we mean?
They're very good.
So you've got to remind yourself, oops, I'm stopping flow. How can I shift that energy? Because when you do, Mother Nature will bring exactly what you need. And your
Being a
awareness
beaver.
is so much more.
Quit being a beaver, Wanda. Okay.
Sorry.
I know that you're going so many directions. Sorry. That's just where my mind was going.
It's like I could just hear us out and she'll be talking to me saying, stop being a beaver. I know what's going to happen. People are going to go, excuse me?
Sorry.
Isaac, do you feel like you have a connection with Mother Nature?
Yeah, I would say so. I feel like every living being naturally innately has that connection with it. Mother Earth, provides everything that you need: food, water, shelter. So yeah, I would say so.
Do you like going camping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say no.
No.
I thought you did it. I just drag you. I was like, for real?
He just makes you feel guilty. That's all. There's a difference.
Because he was like, again? I was like, yeah,
Well, I
Again.
could be in like, glamping and still be in nature. So you can still be comfortable in your camper or whatever,
yeah.
but then you can still be outside. You can look at the sky, you can look at the trees.
Yeah.
You should see me in a 5-star hotel sitting in the middle of the Red Rocks of Arizona. I am fully connected to Mother Earth, but I ain't sleeping on her.
I agree with that.
I think you're really, really connected to Mother Earth. And I believe that you are as well.
Yeah.
A lot. Like out of everybody in this table, I would say you, and then Isaac, and if there was quote unquote like ever some bullshit, like,
Levels. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway.
I like how you corrected yourself.
Yeah, because
The bullshit.
yeah, I knew what I wanted anyway. The reason why I say that is because everything in Mother Nature, a lot of things in Mother Nature is nonverbal. Nonverbal communication. Like a lot of people don't have the gift and the patience or the ability to be present, because that's what it takes in order for somebody to appreciate nature and to be in the how. You have to know how to be in the present. Somebody who knows how to be in the present doesn't necessarily need to focus on how to be grounded, because you're already grounded.
Yeah, you're already grounded.
You know what I mean? You already know how to get things done. You're not going to be daydreaming all the time, la la land, like, oh, I wish. No, it's just like we're doing things, we're working, we're doing. It's like we're busy fingers, busy hands. But the reason why I say, like, because when I tune into Isaac and I was like, oh, that's too much of your same energy, it's just like, it's the nonverbal. Because it's like the strong connection you guys have with like all of nature, whether it's a rock, whether it's an animal, whether it's a plant.
Yes, a stick. I mean, it's like I can be totally fascinated by a stick.
Yeah, because I know he's put music on.
Everybody, it's just a stick, Wanda. I know, but look at
But
this
isn't
stick.
it beautiful? Yes, exactly.
People are like, okay, it's just a rock. It's just a stick. I know, but isn't it? This
There's
is so
no
cool.
such thing as
Yeah,
just.
it's just
Exactly.
Yeah.
But especially the animals and being able to
Oh, yeah.
communicate and the nonverbal commands, because there's been so many times where any animal could come to any of us, but you have to be connected in order for you to be like, I understood exactly what that animal was saying. It's just like, what? Wants water. I would have to go through 50 million steps, or not even probably ignore it. Like, I don't know what's going on. Where's the owner?
Where's the owner?
Where's the owner?
You know?
Just stop and listen, Carol. They'll tell you.
Yeah. But like, because I see that in him, like he has a strong connection. I was just like, oh no. I was just like, it's unknowing, because it's like you already understand. Sometimes when we just know and understand, it's too easy.
Yeah, because it just feels natural.
Because it's
just-
natural.
It's normal.
You have a natural connection to Mother Nature. You have a natural connection.
I have
to
a
Mother
question for you, Isaac. So if you are in the moments of stress and the moments of, shall we say, we'll just say fear, how do you calm yourself?
With breathing exercises, and then
Do you do it in front of the boob tube, as they say, or do you do it by stepping out into a space where you can breathe? Like Wanda's source is the sun. When she's in that space of the air movement, she calms her energy. Do you understand what we're asking?
So I think the way I do it is I try to like get it internally.
Mhm.
I don't really like walk away or do anything. Like I'll just sit here. Like say if I'm nervous, I'll just sit here and then in my mind like try to calm myself down, slow my heart rate down so that it's not like beating out my chest, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I just try to like slow my thinking, and then that way is like the way I kind of like ground myself or calm myself down or.
So you pull yourself to the present, which, as you just said, is that connection to the core.
Well, and as we sit here and talk about lots of things and learning, because I learn a lot about. So usually I'm the only guy here.
He's so grateful you're here. He's so grateful you're here.
Thank you for being
so
here.
Grateful. Thank you, Isaac, for coming. I'm not the only
only God.
as you listen and you learn about this particular thing and what Mary Elizabeth said to you, I think that's interesting because, I mean, learning is part of the whole endeavor. That's what we are here for. But maybe that's something you should try when you start getting nervous. Maybe step outside, let the sun hit you in the face. See how that feels. See if that makes you a little more grounded. Because, I mean, we're all learning.
Right.
Maybe there's something else you can do differently to make yourself more grounded. That's just a thought.
What do you do, Omar?
I just go outside. I'll go outside and sit outside
The
for a
sun.
second. Yeah.
I love
I-
the sun.
I don't like the sun too much, but I'll sit outside. Cloudy, I don't care.
I love the sun.
I'll just sit
Just
outside.
breathe.
Yeah, just breathing the
air.
outside air. Feeling the air rush through my ears. You can hear it. Because these big ears hollow out. But anyway. But yeah.
He's big on breathing because and he's not shy about it either. Because even like you guys know, I will have my exact. He will have me breathing outside public, but he's like block ignore everybody, just breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess Mother Earth does do a lot for all of us.
Yeah.
Even
And
when we're not
even
aware.
when we're not aware. Yep. And
That reminds me, the other day when we went Christmas tree shopping, you thought I was crazy.
yeah.
Tell me the story.
So we went to the Christmas tree shopping to get the Christmas tree, right? And you know, we've done it every year. It's a live tree. We went there and we saw this tree. We didn't like this tree. This tree's not the right one. She grabbed that tree, put it down, and we both looked and we said, that is the perfect tree.
I said, that's the tree.
And
And he
then,
goes, well, don't you want to look at the other ones? No, this one's the one that wants to go home with us.
Yeah.
And then he was like, but there's another one over there. No, this is the one that says who wants to go home with us.
yeah.
He's like, okay, I guess this is the one we're taking home.
And
It
the
was
tree,
calling to you.
and
So
the
you
string.
felt you heard it calling
I
to you.
said, I'm
Teach
it.
me.
Yeah,
Teach me.
exactly. That's right. That's what I heard. Take
And
me. I'm like, all
we
right.
put it on the stand in the house, and it's a little crooked.
So are we.
And just straight out. We're not going to straight out. It's fine. And then we both looked and said, and we said, you know what? It's the right tree.
And he looked at me like, hey, you're right. This was the right tree. I'm like, I told
It took me a
you.
while. It took me a while to understand. Once I saw it there, I'm going, it's crooked. That's it. We didn't fix it. This year we have a crooked tree. But it meant to be there.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
going to
You
say.
just brought up that statement, the crooked tree, brought up a story of my neighbors. When my daughter was little, they bought this tree. Her husband brought her a tree home that he had cut down in the forest. Thing was massive, like massive. It had to be like 8 feet wide and 12 feet tall. And she said to him, that is not going to fit in our living room. You need to cut off
The bottom.
6 feet off
Sure.
that
Oh, my
tree.
goodness.
Some
That's a lot.
6 foot tree.
Different in the forest than they do when
the
you get
bottom of the
home.
tree was thicker,
Sure.
Yeah.
so he cut off 6 feet off the top.
Off the top.
Oh, poor tree.
And
So
that
it's a
poor
square.
tree. Yeah, well,
What'd you guys do with the top? You should put it at the table.
Exactly.
she put it out on the front porch and decorated it.
That's funny.
She said, well, at least we have a tree
Yeah.
now. But, yeah, and then they had this big round
Ball.
a Christmas bush in the house, a tree on the front porch.
It's all right.
But guess what?
Yeah.
That tree wanted to come with
Yeah.
him, and that's what he had said. That tree was calling to me.
Yeah.
I brought it home. He just didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, I walk, it just reminded me with your story. I walk my dog around the neighborhood, and in the past few years, I've been able to see faces on these trees, and I've taken pictures of them.
Oh, cool.
And some of them, one of the trees I passed by is the exact tree from the Never Ending Story.
Oh.
It's the exact tree from it, and I have a picture of it and everything. There's this one particular tree that I passed by, and I look at it, and I see the face, I see what it's looks like, and while my dog was doing its business, I looked at the tree, I'm like, what's your name? And he responded with Nicodemus.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, and the first thing I thought was Rats of Nim, like that old cartoon.
Stop your dog from pooping on me.
Put your legs down now.
Okay. So I started having a conversation in the middle of the street. It's a big street too, with Nicodemus, and he's old. He's been there forever. He's wise, but I can get advice from him.
Cool.
I can also heal from him. If I have a headache coming on,
Mm-hmm.
I put my hand on him,
Yeah.
and I can feel warmth
Mhm.
coming through.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And then he heals it for me. And I have really nice conversations with Nicodemus. But if
And the neighbors go, here's that girl that's talking.
yeah, I know.
Wait, come here. She's doing it again.
The
She's
good
talking to the
news is
tree.
we all have those AirPods or whatever, and
Oh,
people
so
talk
you're-
about
yeah.
I can pretend I'm on the phone.
Yeah, I was jogging, so I'm
I'm just
resting now.
resting right now.
But in reality, what she's doing, I'm filling up the tree. What's that moment when the now kisses the tree?
Superstar.
Yeah, I'm touched. I really am, and I feel weird because I'm in plain view, but I see the benefits, and as I go through the same route
That's
that I
so
go,
cool.
I see different. I see the faces, and then I tell you, whoa, hello. So I'll tell you what. One time I was walking by, and there's this tree, and I said, if I can really manipulate this universe, I want to see real soon a heart on that tree. It was just flat tree, right? Nothing, just the basics, whatever. 2 months later, somebody had put a heart on the tree.
Oh.
So I mean, they're alive.
Yeah.
They are alive. It's something that I've learned to appreciate more, which I think why I'm also trying to balance the celestial energies to the Mother Earth, because it's crazy how they are alive and they have so much healing power.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the last time I took medication for a headache was, I don't even know how long
So now you
ago.
know you get a headache, Wanda? Go stand outside and touch a tree.
Touch
I'm
a tree.
literally thinking in my head, I was like,
Well,
I'm
you
gonna
talk
have
to
to
trees.
connect
I
this
do, yeah.
not for
So
a headache,
you
but for
hear
my
trees,
shoulder when I
too.
get pain. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, here's the thing we will say to you. Do you all remember when you were kids, you were amazed and amused by the clouds and the pictures that they brought?
Mhm.
I still am.
The trees do the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
And they always have. Watch how the leaves move and how they form. And if you stare at it long enough, it starts communicating
It does.
with
It
you.
does.
Uh-huh.
As your gifts expand, you start to hear their voices too. And all that is an energetic frequency coming through. And the energy of all things exists within the base of a tree. The root system connects all of humanity with all of Mother Nature, you see. And even as a tree is cut down, it does not die. Trees never die.
No.
The roots are connected forever.
Yes.
Wow. So,
It's funny though, because I've gone, we might be driving by a park or somewhere, and I don't remember. I told her, I'm like, oh, I go, oh, I'm so sorry. And he goes, what are you talking about? I go, all those trees are sad, and I don't know why they're sad. He's like, you're looking at me like, okay.
it must be time for lunch.
And then we'll go by another place, and I'm like, oh, all these trees are happy.
Happy trees, yeah. She does.
They'll tell you when something's up.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
went to Tennessee one time, and my sister was just like, "Oh, let's go rent some kayaks," and I was like, "Okay." Nobody else wanted to do it, so like, I'll go with you. And it was all great, you know. Everybody was out. It was a big old lake, and I'm going out there with her, and out of nowhere, it got weary, and I was like, The trees were not talking in the way you were saying that they're talking, but they were talking energetically. But I was like, this feels like I'm walking into one of those movies, like, you know, like a scary film.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so
you can feel
ominous.
that. You can feel
Yes,
that.
it felt ominous, and it felt like all that, and I was like, no,
Like
no.
we're going to
And I'm going up there around and telling my sister, no, turn. And then she was like, why? No, let's make it all the way to the end. Look, exactly. Look, pay attention, just like the girl. And she was like, what? And I was like, look at the trees, look at everything. Can't you feel it? And she was like, okay. And then when we left, later on, we were like checking out the area, and like there was a what do you call it? A burial site, but
Okay, Native American burial site?
no,
just-
no,
Cemetery?
an actual
Oh,
cemetery.
oh, an
But it
actual-
looked old,
Mm.
not taken care of, like maybe an old family one.
Yeah.
Like it looked like, because I could see a bunch of trees, but if you look behind that line of trees, I was able to see. I'm like, oh, there's like
There was a cemetery.
And I was telling my sister, I was like, I told you, and you keep wanting to go. Listen.
The trees will talk to you if you listen.
So Mother Nature is powerful. Mother
Oh,
Nature is
yeah.
among us.
Yeah.
We respect it. She helps us. I think
to save your life.
Just always know Mother Nature will win.
Yeah.
So you may worry.
She's
Yeah.
old.
The cat is
It's okay.
a little,
Yeah.
but
She's
she will always win.
Yeah.
She will always win.
Yeah.
Respect her,
Yeah.
and she will respect you.
Yes.
Fair enough. Well, I'd like to first of all thank everybody again for joining us today. I think there were some good conversations between friends, and I think that we'll continue our path. I think from the reluctant healer that I am, I continue to learn. I want to thank Isaac for being here.
Especially Isaac.
Thanks for inviting me.
And from all of us, Mary Elizabeth, to all of them, we want to have them happy holidays.
Happy holidays,
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and whatever you believe. And we wish each and every one of you the happiest of 2025 and beyond, if that is your trajectory.
Thank you so
And
much
so
to everybody.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Holidays.
Happy holidays.